Right, so I have decided to make this little series on CAD tools. And in this series, I would like to start with this very first episode where I'm gonna explain to you what a CAD tool actually is and how it can be useful to you, how can it make you work much more efficiently and much more quickly, and ultimately how you can actually make more money with CAD tools. So this is the very first episode of this little crash course CAD series. I'm going to explain the basic concepts of CAD tools in this episode, and in the next episodes I'm going to deal always with one particular CAD tool. I'm going to describe it, I'm going to tell you a few tips and how to work with it so that I can get you up and running and working and making money and translating in this particular tool. So I believe there will be something like maybe 5 to 10 episodes. And well, let's start with the first episode right now. Let's start with the basic concepts. So, before I start talking about CAD tools, I would like to show you what a naive translator probably does. How a naive translator probably translates documents today. I know it because I used to be a naive translator as well, and I used to do these things something like 13, 14 years ago. So let's get into it. So what a naive translator would probably do is to open a source document in perhaps Microsoft Word or in PDF, I don't know. Anyway, this is the source document. And what a naive translator would probably do is to open another document, a blank document, also probably in a Microsoft Word, and start translating it. So as you can see, here we have this kettle manual. It's a very, very easy and very, let's say, primitive manual on a kettle, on a kitchen kettle. So as you can see, on the left we have the source text, and on the right we have the target document. And what a naive translator would probably do is to go to this blank target document and just start translating. So you can translate it, for instance, like this. Yeah, well, and there are a few problems associated with this approach. So the first one is it's really exhausting because, you just need to steadily look with your eyes in your source document and look the text where you left it before you went to the target document and started writing. So this can be really, really exhausting after a while, and also it's very much prone to an error, because chances are that you will just get lost in the source document and you will just forget to translate something. You will simply, I don't know, skip one sentence here, another sentence there, and and the quality will just go south. So that's the very first problem with this. Another problem is also the formatting, because as you can see, this source text is pretty much rich formatted. As you can see, we have this heading, and then we have this bold and underline text here. Also, we have some italics here. Yeah, so it's pretty much formatted. And also we have this image of the kettle here. And you need to take care of this when you have taken this naive approach. So as you can see, when you go to the target document and you start writing, you just need to format it, and this can get really, really very tiring. So this is reason number 2 why this approach is not really too good. And also reason number 3 is the terminology. Especially when you translate some technical or maybe even legal text or economical text, I don't know, there will be a great many of some specific terms that always need to be translated consistently. So For instance, if you have some, I don't know, in a technical text, maybe there is the term safety locking or something like this. So you just decide that you would like to translate it in a certain way into your respective language, and you should be consistent. You should always translate it the same way throughout the whole document. And you know, with this naive approach, when you just using this Microsoft Word, this can be really difficult because, you know, it's not just 1, 2, or 3 specific terms. You might have like 10, 20, 30, 40 terms. If it's a real long document, like 100 pages, there will be a great many of terms, and it can be really exhausting to remember them all. And chances are your consistency will just go south. So this is another reason why this naive approach might not be too ideal. And so you should definitely start using a CAT tool for translations. And I'm going to show you what a CAT tool actually is and what its advantages are. So we can open a very old CAT tool here. I have this Trados Studio from 2011. It's very old, but you know, I think it's okay to illustrate the basic concepts here. So as you can see, I have already loaded my document into this SDL Studio. As you can see, this is our original document. Important safety instructions. Read carefully and stored for future use. So as you can see, it's the very same one as here. It's the very same document. And as you can see at first glance, what this CAT tool will do, it will separate the whole document into these needs cells. You know, there is the first cell, then we have another cell here, then we have another cell here, and so on. These cells are actually called segments. We call them segments. And a segment is usually a whole sentence, but it can be also some meaningful block of text. And what's good about the CAT tool is that it will actually arrange all these segments into this vertical arrangement, into this vertical setup. And that's really perfect. That's really super cool because, you know, you just see what you have to translate on the left and you can just start writing it on the right. I'll be using the machine translation feature so I don't lose time with manual translation. So just don't be surprised that I translate so quickly. And as you can see, it's been translated on the right. And now I can just confirm this segment by pressing Ctrl plus Enter. And I can go to another segment. And this is really cool because this CAT tool, which is called SDL Trados, it will actually always highlight the current segment with color. So as you can see, it's highlighted here with this light blue. This is cool. This is really cool because you can immediately see where you are and where you have the text that you are currently translating. As you can see, this will move when I move from segment to segment. This highlighting banner will always move with it. So this is that's really cool. I like it very much. And then we have perhaps the coolest feature of CAT tools ever, and that's the so-called translation memory. Translation memory, that's actually a database. It's a database where all your translations will be stored. So that means you translate one sentence, maybe this one, what we have translated right here, and it will be stored into your database. And it will stay in this database for, I don't know, for a whole your professional life. So you translate this segment, this sentence once, and you can use it perhaps 10, 20 years later. It will stay in your database and you can use it anytime. So when any similar sentence or identical sentence comes up in some other text, this SDL Studio, this CAT tool, will recognize it and will offer you the already stored translation so you can use it and save your time and thus make more money. That's what's cool about it. So as soon as you confirm it, you go to the next segment And as you can see, I have already translated it, so it's already in my memory. You can see it here. A cat tool will either automatically insert it into your text, or you can do it yourself by just pressing a keyboard shortcut, which in this particular case is Ctrl+T. And when I press it, as you can see, my SDL Studio will insert this already translated segment into my currently translated text. So I can go again, and I can translate this sentence again. I will use the machine translation feature again for this to save time, so don't be scared. And as you can see, I can just quickly, very easily format this part of the text. And I know that this sentence actually comes up in the text later. When we move in the text a little bit, then you can see that this sentence actually comes up again, except for this numeral. There's 10 years, except instead of 8 years. But you can see, as you can see, when I confirm this segment, I press Ctrl+Enter. And then when I go to this segment, it's already been automatically inserted and translated by SDL Trados. SDL Trados, this cat tool, can even replace the numeral with the correct number. As you can see, it was 8 years here, 8 years, and it was correctly replaced by this 10 years in this segment here. So this is what's really cool about this. And you can just keep translating. I'm using the machine translation feature for this, so don't be scared. it's a little bit faster than usual, I suppose. And as you can see, this is yet another segment, this children must not play with the appliance, that appears again here later in the text. And it will be automatically inserted by this SDL Studio. Actually, when you close the SDL Studio and when you later upload some other document, and let's imagine the situation that that other document might also contain a sentence, children must not play with the appliance, it will also be replaced automatically from the translation memory in this other document. So this is what's really cool about cat tools. They use the translation memory. Translation memory is a very simple database where all your translations are stored for the whole of your professional life. And it's really cool for you because it will save you lots of work, lots of time, and so ultimately it will also make you lots of money. And then what I would like to show you, the other concept of cat tools, is the so-called terminology feature. You know, such a cat tool can actually analyze your text, and it can find all the words that you have marked as terms. So for instance, I hope you can see it, this safety instructions, it's marked by a red line as a term. Yeah, if you look closely, there's a red line. Or if we go to this other segment, it's also, there are these red lines, they mark the terms that are already translated and whose translations you should use to maintain consistency. So as you can see, for instance, this children, it's marked by the red line, and you can see that children is actually translated here in this term recognition feature as it's into Czech, so it's děti into Czech, but it can be in any language. It can be into German, into French, into Japanese, into any language you choose for translation. And this is really cool because this will help you to maintain consistency throughout your translations. And what's cool about this, you can actually define these lists of terms yourself. And what's even cooler, you can add these terms dynamically. As you progress throughout your translation, you can actually add these terms dynamically. So, for instance, you would like to add this safe manner. So you can just select it, and you can select in this particular SDL Studio, in this particular cat tool, you can select add new term. And you can add a new term to your database. So like this, you will be able to maintain consistency with your terms. And of course, so these are the basic concepts of cat tools. And once you want to actually export or finalize this document into its final form so that it looks graphically the same, it has all the images, all the formatting, except it's in your target language. So if you want to export it, you can do that, and you will do it, for instance, in this SDL Studio by clicking the finalize option. And as you can see, it will actually generate the target translations, which will be in your respective language. So as you can see, and this should be somewhere, I hope it's this one. Yeah. So as you can see, it looks graphically identical to your original document. As you can see, it looks almost identical, except the document on the right is in Czech and the document on the left is in English. So these are the basic concepts of CAT tools. So let me just sum it up again. So advantage number one is that CAT tool will nicely separate individual sentences or text blocks of your source document into these cells, into these segments. They make it very easy for you to see where your source text is and to see what you have to translate. The other one is the terminology, so you can keep your text very much consistent in terms of terminology. And the third main advantage is that it will take care of all formatting, of all images, of all text formatting, of all tables, of everything in terms of graphical appearance. So you just need to concentrate on your text, on the translation, and the graphical appearance will be done by the CAT tool automatically. So these have been the basic concepts of CAT tools. And in the next episodes, I'm going to show you the individual CAT tools and their quirks and features and how to work with them to get you up and running and to start making money using CAT tools.